Okay, so let's diving into relationships. So today we're talking about picking the right partner. Obviously, Chris has already done that, so his life is completely set and done with. So we can just skip through the next step. Just kidding. Well, Chris, after finding the right partner, can tell you all about finding the right partner then.
Mhm.
The best partner.
That partner is depending on how you look at it.
Okay, well, all I'm gonna say is you have made the best choice because yeah, it wasn't gonna work out so well with the past options. But that's just me.
But it took how many years to get somewhere?
Wait. I know
It's a
where I know
discussion.
where this is gonna go. Chris is gonna say he molded me into the person I am today.
That's correct.
Where would I be without Chris in my life? I do not know how I made it without ever meeting Chris before.
Like, this was never a pick for both of us from when we were, 20, and where this would have ended up. It was not a pick to say, I'm looking for that perfect soulmate for anything. It was just, is what it was.
You see, God had the better options for you, me.
I'm just saying,
You're welcome.
this topic is about picking, not that life just picked you and we just went with it.
Okay, but apparently God also believed that your previous options were not really good. So he ended up helping you.
I guess so.
So you're welcome again.
Thank you.
From God and I.
Thank you.
You're welcome. But on a serious note, yeah, picking a life partner, I think is very important because who you pick is basically like, is going to be the person you're not only picking to marry, but for most people, because not everybody wants children, you're going to pick the person who's going to be the mother or the father of your children, and you're going to be the person who's you're going to grow old with. So you're not only picking the person for today, you're picking a person for later. And yeah, if you looking long term, you might want to pick a person that fits all the boxes.
That is correct.
But when we say boxes, I don't believe in check boxes. Some girls have like some serious check boxes and they're still single, so I don't think that works. Um okay, so what does the perfect, I guess, picking the right partner means to you?
I think you have to look at things as a compromise with anything else, because as you just said, picking the perfect person is not always going to be how things work out. You kind of have to hopefully find somebody who is flexible, moldable in some way. As we've discussed in the past, that I guess over time you don't want to be the same person. So for that person you pick is somebody who can hopefully change with you, can grow, and not stay stuck in whatever way that maybe you didn't like or whatever. Maybe back in the days you had to be a party animal, and maybe that was fine for that time. But then, one partner is like, all right, time to chill out. Other person's still trying to, go partying. That may or may not be a good thing for relationships sometimes as well. So that's just part of, hopefully y'all can grow together. But as I said in the beginning, at the time we were young, I don't think any of us were looking for, 20 years ahead to see where we are today on this podcast, or family-wise, business-wise at that time. So I think this is for more people who are ready to settle down or looking for that perfect person, hopefully more in the 25 to 30 range, I would say. Might be those people ready. Some people are ready early. Who knows? I don't know. But it really depends on where you are. If you can start early, then better for you. I think at that time it was more of just dating, not necessarily marriage at the time.
I'm a Capricorn, so I always knew if a guy was going to be it or not. If it was for right now or if I could see it for longer. And I always knew what I wanted.
I guess that was me.
You checked the boxes. That worked. It wasn't necessarily by design, but yeah, it worked better than previous options. That, you may have thought you're like super into or in love with at the time because you're younger, but it was never like, nah.
Yeah, I think that's one thing that's clouds things, especially when you're young. I think the Google Gaga-ness of love tends to cloud your judgment of what a good partner is. Sometimes it's more of a lust thing than that person checks the actual boxes. It's like you're so like in love with them, but not because that person is the best person either. We've seen some relationships where just like you're just sprung over this dude, but the dude is freaking douchebag. You know what I mean?
I feel like I'd be so left out. And examples. You had an example for the last show. I was supposed to ask you after, and I forgot what it was. I have to rewatch it to see what it was, to see who it was. I mean,
Fireman.
yeah. What?
The fireman.
Ah, okay. Um, yeah. So I think values, family backgrounds, and goals are things that should shape who you end up with. So, like, for example, if I know I want to have children, I'm not going to be with a guy who's determined that he's never going to have a family. Like, you can change someone into wanting children. And I think some people stay in relationships hoping to change people. Like, there's only so much you can change people.
Same conversation goes back to what I said. It really depends on where you are. You can't be asking a 20-year-old or something about kids. They may or may not want to answer, but it's like, that's so far ahead.
A 20-year-old guy should know whether he wants to have kids. He just probably will tell you he doesn't want it until his 30s and 40s, but eventually in his life, he wants to have kids.
Depends, again.
Like, I'm not asking you to have kids tomorrow.
People tend to have that not want of kids at certain points in their life, whether it was past relationships or issues at home, parental, traumas that they still have in their own personal lives. So meaning it really depends on where they're at. That question is only valid for a certain time. Not everyone is going to be able to answer it, is all I'm saying. Not everyone is early on or later on. So just saying that it really depends on where that person is.
I think in your 20s, you should know whether you want to have kids and a family one day or not. If you guys don't know, then you're even more behind women than I even thought.
No, I'm just saying, it really just depends on you don't always know. It might be today, yes, but I'm just saying later on, maybe you have your annoying nieces coming around. It's like, you know what? I don't fucking like kids. They're annoying as fuck. You know what I mean? Or you're like, you know what? You didn't experience kids until you got to a certain point in life. Maybe your brother had a kid and it's like, you know what? I could deal with them for an hour, but past that is like, I don't want these kids anymore. You know what I mean? Like there's just different things that change. You would have to ask a lot of people what makes them decide they don't want to have kids. Because I don't think you're just born saying, you know, I don't want to have kids just like that. I think it's something that triggers you at a certain point where it's just like, you know what, I just don't want kids. Or maybe it's a mental thing where it's just like, you want kids, but there's something in your mind and, it's unrealistic. Or maybe you just got a point where you just got too old. It's like, you know what, I don't think I could have it. Or you have medical issues in the background that you're just telling yourself you don't want kids, but realistically, you probably can't, and that's just what you say to really compensate.
I guess those are some valid points. So apparently, because I'm going to read the little facts, the data shows that 64% of married people say shared values are the most important aspect of their relationship, which is true, even more than physical attraction and shared interests. Another one says that according to a 2021 report from the Institute of Family Studies, individuals who select partner based on character and aligned values report higher marital satisfaction and are more likely to stay married over time. Basically, it goes back to the same thing. Shared values and I guess character are more important than looks, which is true because sometimes you may look at people and you're like, Ty does that a lot, or how did he get this girl, or, or something. And the guy may not even be that rich, but he may, he might be a good guy, or it's just his values and his character and vice versa, So to me, obviously, I think looks is still important. I mean, you have to be married and looked at that person. So you can't be like looking at the beast all day. I can't say I'm picky, but there has to be like, I don't know, boundaries.
I think it's a guy who makes you smile is what it is.
Oh, you're so full of shit.
It's true.
I don't know.
I think a guy who makes you laugh and smile is what can catch you versus if you don't necessarily look that great. I think it's that
Yes, charm.
Yeah.
I would look at that as a charm
Yeah.
a little bit. Yeah, so I guess that would go into character.
And confidence. I think that.
Oh, hell yeah.
You could be ugly, but you have that like.
Yeah.
I'm a badass dude. You know what I'm saying?
Same for a girl, vice versa, vice versa. Um, okay, so then the strong traits of a partner. So we covered that basically character over chemistry. I think that one to a certain extent, because what I was saying, basically, yeah, you have to be able to look at the person. Sometimes Ty's friends be watching this, and time I watch the little clips, so I feel like
Speak properly.
certain things, but you're gonna have sex with that person for the rest of your life. There has to be some kind of chemistry then. Like, you know what I mean? You can't be like, I'm not looking for a roommate forever. You have to have that sex appeal, that's sexual chemistry.
Or there's those people who will just settle and just take it as for now. And if there's ever a better thing come along, they'll jump to that. I mean, there's people out there like that. Not everything is a marriage. If you might consider it, you know, life is life. You think you go with the punches for today, but maybe not an ideal person. That's not the way things should be. But there are people, look at it that way. This is not my forever type scenario that, I'm dating now, but you never know. I'm still young. Or you could be towards the end. It's like, what? I don't want to be alone. So it's like, you just settle with whatever it is. Maybe they check a few boxes, but it works for now, which is, to me, that's the problem with relationship. Is just like, yeah, you have to be in it enough, but then that's probably why a lot of people, they search around and they become unhappy, they become miserable to a certain degree, and eventually the other person suffers because it was enough at the time, but when you start looking at the other side of the fence, you might see things are greener, there's more options. You've been waiting for this one person, and maybe God is testing you, whether this other person is like, all right, should I jump the fence?
But honestly, technically, everything starts with chemistry, right? Because even for women or men,
And so we're clear, we're talking about picking our partner. Is the partner always necessary marriage? Because that's two different conversations. Marriage is you're pretty much stuck. Not even necessarily stuck, but like this is kind of supposed to be the end, not like you're. So dating, to me, you can break it off for whatever reason. But when you become marriage, it should hopefully be the end scenario. You know what I mean?
then I should specify that. Yeah, for marriage.
Since dating could be 2 years, you just want to have it's cool for now. I like it, be cool enough. We can hang out. He's fun.
Or for something serious, like a serious relationship. At least that you would hope not for like a hookup. Because then if you're going for a hookup, then you're just going based on chemistry, what they look like.
Hookups can last a long time sometimes.
Yes, they
Like
can
20
last 19 years. Are we like the longest hookup? I wonder if there is a thing for that. Shared vision of the future. Yes. You need to be on the same page. And I think that's a problem with some people. I don't think people communicate enough. Money, goals, everything. So to me, you should all be on the same picture. On the same page. And honestly, I guess not a hookup. So we're talking long lasting relationships going into marriage, because I guess that would what it would lead to if you're in not on a hookup. So if you're long lasting relationships, you should have those conversations. Do you want to have children? What does your financial goal look like? What are your life goals? Where do you see yourself? Basically, the same way you should be creating your goals. Where do you see yourself 5 years, 10 years, 20 years from now? Because if you're not on the same page, you're with somebody who's comfortable in a 2-bedroom apartment, but you're trying to build something into a mansion and they don't even care for that lifestyle. You guys are not gonna, it's not gonna work out because you guys are not gonna be on the same page. You're clearly gonna be a little bit more materialistic, where they're just gonna be comfortable and they don't need to grow beyond that. So you guys have to know exactly how many kids you want, what's a max. Like, I think people don't have these conversations enough to be exactly on the same page.
Because maybe like you're a girl and you want like a guy that, you know what, he's still young, so he's potential, but maybe that guy is just, you know what, I'm fine being, you know, just a plumber, versus you're hoping that that guy will maybe own a plumbing business at some point. You know what I mean? Like by the time he's 40, he start his own business, do his own thing to make more money. But maybe he's just fine at that level. Maybe that's not what you want at the end of the day, to support whatever future life goals you may have.
Yeah, so you guys have, because not everybody dreams of a mansion, that's not like a goal for everyone. Like,
And it's still bigger than a plumber for sure.
yeah, but meaning like that's not, some people are good just having a regular house, their family, and that works. Like, meaning everybody's dream looks different. It doesn't have to be like, oh, I have a yacht and stuff. That's not everyone. Some people don't care for that. So you guys want to talk about that. So that's definitely important. Um, and then problem resilience and problem solving skills. Yeah, you definitely need to be able to communicate, have patience, and be able to grow together, because life is going to throw a lot at you and it is going to test you.
You should also question yourself. Don't always check the boxes of the dude, but check your own issues, your own problems you need to work on, because yeah, you might think you're awesome, but maybe that's why you ain't getting no guys either. It's because you have things to deal with yourself. People keep saying,
Or girls. Why do I have to keep saying that for you? Like, you have to say guys or girls, dude.
I'm just saying, you know, you'll be looking for these things, but then maybe yourself have a lot of things you have to deal with, whatever traumas you may have, daddy issues, mommy issues that you need to fix, whatever mental things you have. Maybe that's why things are not coming to you, because, you know, you have a lot of unresolved things to handle in your life.
Yeah, but that's more about you're already in the long-term relationship.
Yeah, but there's stuff that could be holding you back too. Maybe
Oh,
that.
you mean in while you're in the relation? That's true, but that's because you should always be working on yourself throughout your whole life. So I guess, yeah, I see your point on that. My bad. Okay, so for the little facts part, a research published in Personality and Social Psychology Bulletin shows that couples who score high on traits like concept conscientiousness, what the heck is even that?
Conscientiousness?
Yes, and emotional stability report stronger relationship satisfaction. Basically, if you're not batshit crazy. Well, I think everybody has a little batshit crazy in them.
Do they know?
I know I have a little bit batshit
Do
crazy
you?
in me. Yeah,
Hmm?
so do you. Everybody has a little batshit crazy in them.
Some more than others.
Anyway, I think that depends on who's looking at it. A 2022 study from Stanford University found that couples with a unified vision for their future, especially regarding finances and family planning, are significantly less likely to experience relationship breakdowns. Exactly what I said. When you're on the same page, you would have less issues. I feel like we have not yet accomplished all our goals. We're far from accomplish our goals yet, but we're definitely on the same page. We want the same thing. So that's always been a good thing, family wise, business wise. We have like different views and approaches on how to get to things, but the goal is the same. So I think that's important. And then the Gottman Institute's research revealed that positive communication patterns are the best predictor for long term relationship stability and satisfaction. So communication is key. Personally, I think that's something I had to learn and work on a lot. And as you grow into a relationship and as you grow into an adult, I think you start realizing those things. Although some people never realize things, but I guess that's a part of personal growth also that you bring into the relationship. But communication is key. Like, if you can communicate with your partner, if you're walking on eggshell because maybe you're dating a cancer, like, like you have to learn how to communicate with the person, but you have to communicate over the eggshell. Anyways, anything you want to add, honey?
No.
All right. So overcoming societal pressures and noise. I guess, yeah, big people putting you on a clock. Society gives you pressures. Yes, especially women to rush into relationships and get married by a certain age. I think now less than before, but it's still there. When are you gonna get married? When are you gonna have kids? When I'm good and ready.
Still there.
I said just not as much.
I don't know. I think that's still there.
You think the same?
Yeah. You don't think every parent you've been asking Ty about his dating too?
A 2020 report from the American Psychology Association found that individuals who enter partnerships due to external pressure rather than internal readiness are more likely to face relationship dissatisfaction. Okay, it didn't tell me on how much pressure, but it just tells you basically people are unhappy because they're pressured into going into a relationship, which makes sense because nobody's gonna happy being pressured into anything.
I think that's even the parents' fault. They're just like, I don't know. Can you really be forced into a relationship and just be stuck because of
Yeah,
somebody?
especially I think back into certain from last week's interracial relationships, certain religions and ethnicity will force you into something you don't want to be in. And
Yeah, but that's a whole different kind of
well, I
relationship.
guess that's a different
That's
type.
more of an arranged thing you're talking about. That's
Yeah,
not.
but even on the side of just like, even if it's not arranged, it's like understood or like settled already. Like you'll be happy. And then in some community, they don't want you to get divorced. So now you're stuck. You've outgrown a person, or you guys are not the same anymore, and you're stuck in this marriage that you hate. And you hate your life, and you can't get out of it because people pressure you. So I think, honestly, for that, the best way to fix that is you have to be comfortable with who you are and know exactly what you stand for and when you want to go.
And also that involves being strong enough then to leave or know when to break it off or to get out.
That too.
But as you said though, so in a situation where you're stuck in a relationship because of parents, as you're saying, then what are they supposed to do? Just be like, all right,
A community.
I'm my bitches.
Yeah. You have to be able to I think in those situations you have to be able to not only walk away from the relationship but the community, which might also mean your parents. So you have to figure out what you're ready to deal with. Are you ready to be on your own? Does this relationship really matter?
I think if you can't walk away, then you have other problems to deal with yourself. I mean, that means you have other self-esteem issues,
Traumas.
traumas you gotta deal with because yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, I think you need to be happy. So if you can't figure that out, then we have other problems to deal with. Because I think you have one life to live in. Either you deal with it now or you keep dragging it on and you're stuck and being miserable, as you said. That's not happiness, but I mean, sometimes people take it as, maybe that's the best I can get. This is what it's going to be at.
This is what it
This
is.
is what it is. And that's just life sometimes. You just drag through life as, all right, part of my life sucks, but other half is, it's okay. Maybe I got kids out of it, so it's fine. I deal with it because I have, beautiful children and it's okay.
And then the children leave and then you're stuck in this whack relationship. The ideal partner checklist. Okay, I hate this checklist. I was hoping we'll touch on that. The checklist, we watch all these videos now with this new generation of this stupid checklist. Starting with how much your ring should be. Who cares?
Best one ever.
Like, and I think those girls are throwing numbers out of their asses, dude. Oh, my ring should be at least $1 million. I was gonna say an inappropriate word. Like, are you even bringing $1 million worth of value? Like, why am I? And so we're clear, BJ is not $1 million value.
I don't. To me, I don't care how rich you are, but I guess the problem is what do they call these guys? The simps from my show. The guys who just throw money around for anything because they're freaking weak ass dudes. Like, I'm sorry, I don't find that there's so much to spend for money. I don't care how rich you are. Just throwing around money and $1 million, you said, on rings, that's just the dumbest investment you could freaking make ever. Especially on a wedding. Go buy it in a house, go do some investment for a business or something, or I don't know, just a big vacation, something. Because the $1 million in a ring is what? For a little piece of rock that doesn't really hold enough of its value anyways, most of the
If you're
time.
buying $1 million ring, usually that carat would have that rock would have value in the trade.
My point is that little rock does not hold enough of the real value to me to value the relationship. Like, that should not be the one thing that says, "Oh yeah, baby, I love you because here's $1 million freaking ring." Like, at the end of the day, there's no price tag showing around. Like, there's no like it's something that could even really be lost, stolen. Like, that's on a little piece of a rock that's if I put a fake one on it, you wouldn't even know. Like, there's
But I guess the point to me was, are you in it just for, like, when your checklist starts with $1 million ring, like, are you really into the guy or are you really into his wallet is my point.
wallet.
Like, it shouldn't matter. You know what I mean? Like, you shouldn't care about how much your ring is. Obviously, I don't want to have to take like a microscope to look for the thing on my ring. And if you guys want to not have something on a microscope, I would rather have like, like just like a nice stone. It doesn't have to be like, like a diamond or something. Nice stone that looks pretty, as long as it's something pretty. But I'm not going to say I'm not going to marry this guy because the ring doesn't cost this much. Who cares? Like, I'm not marrying the guy for the ring. I'm marrying the guy for the marriage, for the relationship.
They're not. Because to me, you're setting a value on, oh, he doesn't love me enough. He has all this money and all he just bought with me was this $20,000 ring at Jared or something. It's like, no, it's not a nice ass ring. There's so much more you could do to show you love. Like, I don't know, I'd spend it on the wedding, something. I don't know.
And I don't think personally that's a little bit out of the subject, but since we're on ring jewelries and stuff, I don't think a guy should finance your wedding ring. Buy something like a $200 ring on Etsy or something, and then when you guys have checked all your goals together 10 years from now, on that 10-year anniversary, upgraded, and you can pay for it outright because you guys build a life together. Like, you don't need to go into why are you making $500 per month payment on a ring for what? Like, it doesn't make any sense. If you can't pay the ring outright, just like, yeah, later, 10 years from now, you're supposed to be in it for the long term, right? 10 years from now, upgrade it. If you guys don't make it to 10 years, you save some money. Better for you.
That would involve having a woman who's open like that. Not everybody is like that.
Yeah, but that's what I see on those videos. It's a problem.
Yeah.
I am scared for my son finding a wife. Like,
Yeah,
it's
because
very hard in them streets.
you know what? Because that's social media. Social media portraying the unrealistic reality of what's actually out there, and what percentage of actual guys are out there who can actually afford to pay $1 million. That 6'4" guy, the build, the muscles, is rich. Like, that list just goes down and down and down. And are you even the kind of woman who is even gonna reach that level?
Yeah, and exactly.
Besides
If
looking
you're
hot.
looking for the few guys who can afford it, like, are you even bringing anything to the table that they even propose to you? And then, besides, are you going to be able to hold up that relationship? Is he going to be cheating on you? Like, yeah, if that's all you're looking at, like, I don't know. To me, a checklist matters, like, to have an idea, but it shouldn't be, yeah, exactly. It's a base. It shouldn't be, oh, if he doesn't check this, and there are girls and men like that, if she doesn't check this, and then, like, there are basics, like, you should be able to meet the checklist that you have to, right? So if you want a funny person, are you funny? If you want a guy or a girl who goes to the gym, are you going to the gym? Like, you know what I mean? Like, you can't be asking of somebody else things that I saw, and I don't want to be rude, guys, but we saw this video. It's a fat girl, like She was probably living her my 600-pound life, and on her checklist is a guy with like 6 packs, abs, and muscles. Yeah, he's probably meeting his girl at the gym. You might want to start going there and working on yourself to meet that guy at the gym. You know what I mean? And like sometimes you might be having like, a hormonal issue but usually you can tell it's a girl who has an extra, but she wasn't, she was a disaster. That girl was a disaster. She wasn't doing nothing with her life. She's looking for this guy with unrealistic checklist and I don't know, bro.
About them listening.
No, it really doesn't. You guys are going to be single for life. And it's not about lowering your standard, but I'm gonna need people to start coming back to reality. Not every guy on this planet is a millionaire. Not every guy on this planet is 6'4", and not every guy on this planet has a 6 pack. There are plenty of great, decent guys with potential that you can just look at. But if he's not good and ready, you guys, like Chris wasn't, like he had potential. Chris wasn't good and ready. No, you weren't ready. You gotta mold people, like you said, right? You have to grow with the person and you have to become better together. Especially if you guys are like, you're gonna get old together, so you can get better. You're not supposed to get worse together. You're supposed to get better together. So you can work on the person and with the person. So yeah, like you said, if the guy is a janitor, but he tells you one day he wants to own a business and he has dreams, and you see him after hours, he's like taking courses online, he's reading books, he's going to the gym. What's wrong with the janitor? He has a job, so he can pay his bills. If he looks hot and you have sexual chemistry, things are good in that department, and you can see he's making effort. One day he might be that millionaire. He might just own the janitorial company. So why not give him a chance or even build that life with him instead of just dismissing him because he didn't have it today?
Wow.
I think that's a problem
You
with
want it
people.
like PK, I want it my way.
Yeah, but I don't think it works that way, people. So I'm not asking people to lower their standards. I'm just asking people to come back to planet Earth. That was just my 3 cents. Building a healthy relationship together, embrace the team mentality, foster open and honest conversation, communication, and celebrate small wins. Yeah, so basically the team mentality was exactly what we're saying. You can build that life together.
Shows what marriage should be and partnership. You both on a journey together, not one
Exactly.
dragging you along, for the journey. You should both be together. Any relationship, it should be 50-50, honestly. If you're doing 100% of the work, 100% of the bills, 100% of I gotta kiss your ass all day, 100% of, you treating me like shit, I gotta do dishes for you, I gotta do this, I gotta do that for you. Like, you have to provide some kind of a value, even if it's not money, but you have to pick up some of the pieces. Even if you're the woman who, you want that guy who has checked all these boxes, what are you prepared to help him with at that end of the day? Because sex ain't it. He can get 20 other hoes if he's that hot.
You can pay very cheap these days for that.
I mean, if he's that good looking and he got the money, it ain't hard to go him to go get more hoes. That's realistic. Or pay for it. You know what I'm saying? Or go down to South Beach and go to some club and get more girls. Like, what are you doing to help support him at the end of the day?
Or her.
Or her.
You have to really practice the him or her, dude.
I guess so.
Yeah, like it has to be a team effort. But that also goes back to you guys should be on the same page because you should discuss, are we both gonna be working? Who takes care of the kids if you're having kids? Or do I want to be a stay-at-home wife? Or do I plan on working and watching? So you guys have to know every little details, and please figure that out before you get married, not after you have married, or not after you're married, and not after you have children. Like figure it out before. Open communication. Yeah, I think you should talk about everything, anything. Like I've learned one thing the other person can't read your mind. So if you're not saying it, they can't know. And I think women were a lot like that, like, oh my God, he didn't do this. But you were just looking at him and just hoping he could just read your mind.
She does
But
that all the time.
no, I do that for fun, not for act.
No, you do it actually too. Yeah, you do. You come back afterward telling me stuff, just thinking it and expecting me to just somehow read it in your head.
Okay, I don't recall none of that.
Of course not.
But we do expect, and you have to work on that because nobody reads their mind. And I think because guys are a bit more straightforward than I think girls are, you try to hold back and then one day you just blow up because you can't take it anymore. So if you communicate over time, then you don't have that blow up.
Yeah, women have that concept of, oh, I don't want that, but in reality, you want it. But the guy's supposed to know you wanted it. Is how y'all operate.
You have to give an example because this sounds very bad. It's like setting people up for
Not
rape or
saying
something.
you. I'm just not
No.
Not
I'm just
wanted.
saying like kind of.
Oh, I don't mean wanted as in like sexual. I mean like I can't give the right example, but let's say it was just, oh, I don't really want that bag. I don't need it. But in reality, you're saying you need it. You know what I mean? Like, oh, I don't care to go out tonight, but in reality, you want to go out tonight. Like that's what I mean. Like y'all give very mixed signals, and we're supposed to really read in between the lines that there was an actual like, yes, I really wanted that thing. Yes, don't be confused. I'm not talking about you either, but I'm saying in general.
But I was gonna say no. I'm looking because I feel like guys are a little bit like that too. Mind you, yes, women do that, but guys do that a little bit.
Show me the memes where that's a woman thing and all y'all agreeing.
So strong partnerships are built on mutual respect. Okay, I'm gonna stop reading all this, right? Basically, study found that mutual respect and active collaboration predicts relationship satisfaction more than initial romantic attraction. So I guess over time, but you won't find out until like you're into the relationship going into it. A 2021 study from UCLA found that couples who continuously celebrate small victories together report higher relationship happiness and resilience during tough times. Yeah, people talk about celebrating small wins, but I told you that we need to start doing that more. We don't really we're like, yeah, we're gonna celebrate this when it happens, and we're like, okay, just didn't do anything. We just moved on.
It was not exciting anymore.
But that's the problem. This is why they tell you that people are like, oh, I want to be a billionaire. But once you get to that billion, it's like, okay, then what's next? Like, it wasn't what it was all cracked up to be. So that's why they tell you should enjoy the journey more than the destination. So I think people should celebrate more small wins. Communication. So back to that. Journal of Social and Personal Relationships reported that couple who prioritize open, honesty dialogue tends to see their relationship quality improve with age as they grow more attuned to each other's needs. Yes. Like communication. I think if I have to give anyone a main must in a relationship, it would be communication. What would be your one thing? One word.
Communication. Or communication or I don't know, flexibility, understanding. I don't know. I can't really put me on the spot.
This is what this is about. You gotta stay quick. All right. So the right partner isn't just someone who looks good on paper. It's about character, values, and vision that aligns with yours. So basically, don't let society pressure you. Don't try to overthink check boxes. And yeah, don't let outside noise. Like if you know, you know, but also don't avoid red flags because the sex might be good, but he's really a sociopath. Like stay in it. Yeah, focus on what matters, values, emotional commitment. You can have a guy who starts from the bottom or a girl. You can build a life together. Like they don't have to start at the top. The whole point is the journey, guys. So yeah, find someone. It's the best. find someone you can build a life with. And then you can mold each other into what, You'll hear women say that a lot too. Like, you've been married a long time, and then they're like, oh, what if the guy cheats once? I didn't work on molding this guy to where I want him to be so that this one time hoe, can come and break this up. She's like, no, 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 no. Yeah, I think it's kind of true.
Yeah, I think the key is just finding somebody who is moldable enough. Forget the perfection, forget about the list. Find somebody who is decent, you can have a good conversation with, and that is workable enough that you can see yourself with that person, hopefully changing enough to be the person you want to be. Because the thing is that somebody who's not stubborn, and maybe the best word, people are just very stuck in their ways and like, this is it. So if that guy isn't checking your box now, don't expect him to check his box because he's going to be stubborn forever. Like some people are just always stubborn and
He or she.
he or she. I didn't say him, but
You said he's going to be stubborn.
okay, she could be stubborn too. Yes, she can be very stubborn. But yeah, just finding somebody who is flexible enough that you can hopefully work together on both improving yourselves. Because nobody's perfect themselves. Nobody ever sees their flaws all the time. So hopefully somebody that checks enough boxes that you like them enough, you can see the sex with them, you can see the looks with them as they get, you're not going to be looking too far out over the fence that, or you could build that fence together, the two of y'all.
I'm laughing because you said nobody is perfect except Chris. Chris thinks he's perfect.
Well, it's out there, it's out the rest of the world. I'm already taken.
Oh, Lord. The perfect guy is already taken.
Sorry, ladies.
Lord Jesus.